So tell me a little bit about yourself, kind of introduce yourself to everybody and your decision to run.
Okay, John Browning, lifelong resident of Plainview, Texas, fourth generation Texan. So really happy to be here. On my grandmother's side, we came from Missouri, but on the Browning side, we've been residents of Texas for a long, long time. Father of two, businessman, independent oil and gas producer, very small independent oil and gas producer. Do a lot of land work mostly. Christian, Gideon, very faithful daily reader of the scripture. I'm doing this as an extension of my my journey to trust the Lord. My wife and I fought cancer for 3.5 years, and I learned on that journey how to trust the Lord. I lost her to cancer about 17 months ago, and this is just an extension of that witness and an extension of that journey. And I really felt called by this. There were some people that asked me to run, and when I looked into my opponent's voting record, it was not conservative and not a West Texas values, and so I felt like it was the right time to do something that would benefit all of Texas.
So tell me a little bit about you wanting to run and that like you said, that calling to run. So tell me a little bit about that.
So I went to a women's Republican meeting. I was seeing a lady, and she asked me to go, and it just so happened that there were several Republican chairwomen from different counties there, and as we discussed things, they said, we need a candidate to run against Ken King, and so I started doing the investigation. I actually went down to Austin, met with King prior to making the decision, and it was, I told Ken, I said, I'll never be your enemy, but I think we need to have a discussion about your voting record, and so that's what we've been doing.
And so tell me a little bit about that, about meeting with Representative King, and kind of tell me a little bit about that.
It was a 2.5-hour discussion. He basically went over all of his successes, but he was not. I just didn't find that he was willing to discuss the things that he held up. He held 107 conservative bills up in his committee. Conservative bills that we needed to move forward, and his voting record is very low. He's second from the bottom in this cycle, ranked in the Republicans. So, for those reasons, that's why I'm running. We need a conservative voice in the Texas Panhandle and in District 88, and we just don't have that right now.
Yeah, and tell me a little bit about your decision to run for 88. Tell me a little bit about that and why you chose 88.
I live there. Yeah, so I live in the district, and I don't have a choice to run anywhere else.
And so when it comes to I guess for some people when they see you and Ken King, tell me a little bit about maybe the differences between you two.
So conservative values. Ken has a voting record that is not conservative. I'm pro-life. There are no buts in pro-life. From conception to euthanasia, I have lived that. I know what it's like to fight for life. When you feed your wife with an IV for 14 months and you strive to do the work that is necessary to extend life and to try to fight for that life, you understand the battle. And so I am pro-life with no buts and no hesitations. I don't think that that's the position that our current representative has. those conservative values are going to go with me everywhere. You know, I know what it's like to try to save a calf in the pasture to my wife at home. And so, you know, for those reasons, we're going to be pro-life always.
And so tell me a little bit about, you know, for people when they go cast their vote, when they go into that voting booth, you know, I guess why should they vote for you over Ken King?
Well, Representative King has voted for school choice. He has, the teachers feel somewhat betrayed because he flip-flopped on that issue. But Governor Abbott and Cruz and President Trump all said that if you would vote for school choice, that they would give the endorsement. And so Ken moved his position from against school choice to school choice. Now, we had school choice before we had school choice, but this was the vouchers. And Ken wanted those endorsements, and for those reasons, he flip-flopped on his vote there. There's a number of reasons why, but most importantly, it is that he has not been conservative. He has not been conservative for our district. When 89% of our district votes for Trump, and then he's at the lower end of the tier with his voting record, that's not a conservative Republican. And so for those reasons, that's the choice difference. If you want a moderate, Ken King's your guy. If you want conservative values, pro-life values, pro-gun rights, pro-property rights, I'm your guy because I'm going to be voting those conservative values.
And so if you beat Ken King in the primary and you move on, what is something that you know you hope to continue or something you hope to do if you continue on?
Oh, there's a lot of legislation that I'd like to propose, but all of it's going to be conservative in its values. There's a lot to learn before I get there, and I'll have a 9-month window to draft that legislation and to do the things that are important. Fortunately, Texas is out of session, and it'll be January before. I do have a Democratic opponent, so I'll have to go fight that race if I prevail in the primary. And so there's a lot of ground to cover before we get there. But number one, I'll be voting conservatively, and then I'll be proposing legislation that benefits our area. Water is my number one goal. We must clean it and bring it. We've got to clean up our oil field water and utilize it as fresh water. And number two, we've got to bring new sources of water from outside of the state of Texas to Texas. I'd like to fill up Meredith and McKenzie and Greenbelt and others and build new reservoirs. We have a big need for water moving forward and having a great water plan. 2027 is a critical time for water. It's the time that we set our next 5-year goals for water. And I want to be a big part of that water plan and moving water forward for Texas.
Yeah, and we hear that often here on the High Plains about water, you know, the Ogallala Aquifer and all these water plants. So tell me a little bit about that, some of the other ideas when it comes to water for you.
So first of all, we want to clean up our oil field water in the Permian Basin. Andrews is part of my district. We need to take the pressure away from that formation because we've got some leaks down there. But number two, there's 26 million barrels of water produced every day in the oil field. So we need to clean it. And then number two, bring it. So I have a friend that was appointed by the governor of Kansas to the Kansas Water Development Board. And for 60 years, we have been studying moving water from the Missouri River to western Kansas. There's 4 million acre feet available that is in excess of what is needed for barge traffic. Well, guess what? Kansas uses 1.2 million acre feet in western part for just agriculture. And that leaves a lot of extra water. Well, guess who wants to buy that water? Kansas or California and Arizona. And they think it's feasible enough to go over the Rockies with. We need to decide and be competitive if we want to bring new water sources to Texas. We need to get busy and secure those water rights and start an aqueduct that would bring water, fresh, new, clean water to Texas. And guess what? On the western part of the state, we can go any direction we need to. If we needed to go down the Brazos, we could. If we wanted to go down the Canadian Municipal Water Authority line and go into the Tool Creek to fill up McKenzie, we would have that availability. There's a ton of opportunities for water, but we got to get it here. And that's a big part of my plan.
You know, I want to ask you because today is the day we're doing this interview. It's a high wind day, and it's a fire risk day as well. So tell me a little bit about maybe if you got all the way through, what maybe some of their plans would be maybe when it comes to fire danger here on the high plains and in the state in general.
Well, obviously, we have got to be proactive with good infrastructure. That's going to be a big part of our plan, but big infrastructure that is good, that will secure and make sure that we don't have the utility companies having a problem with their fire danger. But also, y'all are in the weather business and getting the word out, being safe. We've got to be proactive in these areas as well. There's a lot to learn about how we can be better at preventing wildfires, and we'll have to start there. So.
And for people that want to find out more about you and your campaign, how can they do that?
Okay, so I've poured my heart out on Facebook. I do an 88 seconds in District 88 on John Browning for Texas on social media, so Facebook, X, and Instagram. I also have a website, a campaign website, johnbrowning.com, and my phone number is 806-729-1728. I want to be a candidate and a representative that is accessible. So they can email me at john@johnbrowning.com. One of the things that I see as I travel the district and I hear from the constituencies over and over again that they reach out to our current representative and he does not respond to them. And he has a staff, either by email or text or phone or calling the Austin office. He seems to not want to be accessible. I want to be that accessible candidate. Now, if you call my cell phone, I have the anti-spam on there, so leave your name and number and I'll get back to you. Because for obvious reasons, we want to know what we're dealing with. But I have been returning my phone calls, and I'll do my very best to be a representative. I'm the Lone Ranger on this campaign trail. I haven't had a team with me. Now, I've got a back office team that's handling my campaign, but day-to-day appointments and so forth, it's all me. And so I'm thankful for you reaching out to me and asking for this interview.
Yes, sir.
It's been an honor to be here.
Well, and going on that point, what are some of the things you've been hearing from people when you go out and you campaign, you talk to people? What are some of the things you're hearing?
Well, number one is that they can't get a hold of their representative. Number two, they're very disappointed in his voting record. He's not a conservative guy. Number three, we've passed the 10 commandments for the school systems, but at all the independent school systems that I go to, only 2 of them had the 10 commandments posted in their classrooms so far. Number 3, unfunded mandates and local control in our county and school government. Our school governments we have a mostly rural, smaller district area. And so we're legislating for school systems at 6A legislation. And that unfunds the mandates to our smaller school systems. So for instance, there was some teacher incentive pay to raise their rates. Well, when they did that, our smaller districts lost money on the deal. And so I know Quanah lost $600,000 out of their budget because of it, and Memphis, in my district, lost $500,000 out of their budget. And so we're legislating for 6A schools, but we're mandating 1A and 2A schools to that same legislation, and so they just can't do that. At the county government level, we've taken away opportunities for them to function properly because the state of Austin wants to control them. And so we've got to get that local control back into our county government and into our school systems where they can move money around within their budget and function efficiently.
Well, is there anything else I'd like to add that we forgot to ask?
You know, I'm just thankful for the opportunity to be here. I'm thankful for the constituents that have given to me. This has been a grassroots movement all the way through up until recently, at which time some larger donors and PACs have started sending flyers out and so forth. My number one thing is I get a little bit of a pushback on all the flyers and the advertisements that go out. And some of them come from my campaign, but the majority of them are coming from outside of my campaign. And what I have asked the people to do is when they see that flyer, instead of getting upset about those flyers, pray for me. Pray for Ken. Pray for the other candidates that you get flyers from. Use it as a trigger and an opportunity to lift us up because we need a stronger government that is more Christ-centered and godly. And so that gives us an opportunity to say, help us. Help us figure this deal out, Lord. And so for those reasons, I just think that it's important that we turn that direction. So thank you again for having me.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you being here.
Yes.